Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from grade 5. We're going to talk about the new provisions on value added tax in the law number 7 of 2021 on harmonization of tax legislation. Before that, I'm going to introduce our group first. My name is Hanaan Alfarizi, and also my friend is Ichwan, Rizky, Akbar, and also Ayi Dudi Firdaus. So in these presentations, we're going to talk about the what should be noted from these new provisions. So the government and the House of Representatives, or DPR, have officially agreed on the draft law on harmonization of tax regulations into law in last year's plenary session. So the first one that we should be noted is there is an individual income layer or bracket subject to increase income tax rate or PPH. With this ratification, the individual income layer or bracket subject to the lowest 5% income tax rate or PPH is increased to 60 million rupiah from the previous is 50 million rupiah, while the non-taxable income or PTKP remains the same. This increase in the lowest tariff layer provide benefits for the low and middle income people to pay lower taxes than before. The next slide will be explained by my friend Ichwan, Rizky, Akbar.
Thank you, Hannah. Government changed tariffs and adds layers of income tax. On the other hand, the government changed the tariff and add a layer of personal income tax by 35% for taxable income above IDR 5 billions. These changes are emphasized to improve justice and support for middle and low income people, including the individual MSME entrepreneurs and corporate MSMEs, and for individuals who are more able to pay more tax. Next slide. The determination of corporate income tax rates. The HPP bill also stipulates a corporate income tax rate of 22% for the 2022 fiscal year onwards, in line with the global tax trend, which has begun to increase income from PPH while maintaining the investment climate. This rate is lower than the average corporate income tax rate for Asian countries, which is 22.70%. The OECD countries, 22.81%. American countries to 27.16%, and G20 countries 24%. The expansion of the value-added tax or VAT base. Furthermore, the HPP bill also regulates the expansion of the value-added tax or VAT base by reducing VAT exemption and facilities. Basic goods that are really needed by the community: health service, education service, social service, and several other types of service will be provided with VAT exemption facilities. The next slide will be explained by my friend Ayi.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I will continue these presentations. Meanwhile, the government also set a single rate for VAT. The increase in the VAT rate was agreed to be carried out in stage, namely to 11% starting April 1, 2022, and to 12% not later than January 1, 2025. This policy takes into account the conditions of the community and the business world which have not fully recovered from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. When viewed globally, the VAT rate in Indonesia is relatively lower than the world average of 65% and also lower than the Philippines 12%, China 13%, Saudi Arabia 60%, Pakistan 70%, and India 80%. Okay, for for this list is in the HPP bill, there is also a new breakthrough, namely integrating the population's database with the tax administration system. The use of a population's identifications number or NIK in lieu of an individual taxpayer identifications number or NPWP will further facilitate individual taxpayer in exercising their right and carrying out their tax obligations. However, the use of NIK does not mean that all Indonesian citizens are required to pay PPH, but still pay attention to the fulfillment of subjective and objective requirement to pay tax, namely if an individual has a year's income above the PTKP or an individual entrepreneur has a gross turnover of more than 500 million a year. Next slide. The Voluntary Disclosure Program, or PPS, is also implemented in this HPP bill. The program aims to increase voluntary taxpayer compliance and is implemented based on the principle or simplicity, legal certainty, and expediency. PPS will take place on January 1 until 30 June 2022. Okay, enough for me. Next to Hanaan.
Okay, thank you, Ai. So we have reached to the conclusion. From what we explained before, what we can conclude is the HPP bill is an inseparable part of the series of tax reforms that have been carried out so far, both administrative reforms and policy reforms. This bill will also be a very important stepping stone for the next reform process. The implementation of various provisions contained in the HPP bill is expected to play a role in supporting efforts to accelerate economic recovery and realize sustainable economic growth. So that's it. That's all from our group. Jalan-jalan sama Mbak Ayu. We would like to say thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.